What's up, everybody? Thanks for checking me out. Well, today we'll be talking about episode 4 and 5 of the Raised by Wolves series on HBO Max. It's that series that's done by Ridley Scott. Last week we talked about episode 1 through 3, so we're going to be continuing that today. Now, if this is your first time checking me out, what I like to do on this channel is I basically give you a PowerPoint breakdown of what happened in the episode without spoiling everything, because you can find some things for yourself and keep the show interesting. But anyway, we open up episode 4 with our Mithriac group, that religious group. They're roaming through the wasteland desert, look like area of planet Kepler 22b. They're still looking for their lost children, that mother, the android kidnapped, but also they're looking for food, looking for water. Their ship is crashed, so they're just ass out in the desert. Well, as they're roaming around, they actually come across this spherical structure. It's 5-sided, and then they said when they touched it, it's warm. So automatically they think this is a sign from our god Saul. We got to set up camp here. This is where we're supposed to be. Now, while this is going on, amongst the group, there's some dissension. You remember we had Marcus and Sue, the married couple, who actually aren't who they say they are. They're just imposters. Some people who are atheists from Earth who stole the identities of Marcus and Sue, and then they infiltrated this Mithriac group and been pretending to be Marcus and Sue ever since. Well, Marcus and Sue have completely just enthralled themselves in the group, and the soldiers and, the lower rank people, they all like Marcus. They think he's smart. They fought on the battlefield with him. He's a soldier, he's a general. He's tough. He's brave. So all the soldiers, they want Marcus to be the leader, our fake Marcus. But who is the leader is this guy, Ambrose. He was a clerk, before the war. He was a higher up, a politician. He did not fight in the war. He's very condescending. He's an asshole. So you see how that can create a rift, amongst the groups, the different ranks. The religious people said we need to follow our faith and keep Ambrose the leader. But the soldiers, the actual people, they said, well, Marcus is obviously a better leader than Ambrose. So that's where you have some conflict going on. Now, back at the camp, you have mother and father. They're pretty much just still trying to raise their kidnapped kids and their one remaining kid. We get a little bit of action of father trying to teach the kids how to kill this creature they captured in a shelter, them trying to forage for more food, because remember, the food that they ate before was radioactive and it killed most of the kids. So that's why they're trying to find new forms of food. But Campion, their child, is actually turning out to be like a little bitch, because he doesn't want to kill it. He doesn't want to kill anything. He just wants to eat like fruit and berries and stuff like that. So the guy Campion, their little son, he was pretty cool in the first 3 episodes. This episode 4, he comes across as a whiny little bitch, I ain't gonna lie. Now, back at the Mithriac group, things are pretty much at a boiling point. Ambrose, he had his android set up a murder attempt on Marcus, pretty much. He put this device in the back of his ear, and it made Marcus go crazy and start screaming because it emits this loud noise. So as this noise is going off and Marcus is going crazy, Ambrose is like, oh, he's been touched by a demon. We got to execute him. That's like immediately he was like, oh man, this guy, he's acting weird. We got to shoot him in the head. That's how much they were getting into it, because at this point, Ambrose, he pretty much knew that Marcus and Sue were not who they say they were supposed to be. He gave him little tests, like when he had Sue over there sitting with him, he would tell her a nursery rhyme, like a children's nursery rhyme, and then she would get it completely wrong and think it's something from their holy book. So you see what I mean? Ambrose knew that Marcus and Sue were not who they say they were supposed to be. So then after this murder attempt, Marcus and Sue end up killing his android, because obviously they found out that, she put the device on his ear. So you see how things are just going crazy amongst that Mithriac group. Now, back at the camp with mother and father, we get more background. Mother, she finds this crashed ship and she gets into this sim chamber where you can basically access some of your old memories. And what she does is she accesses some of her older memories about when they first arrived on Kepler 22b. We find out of those 12 embryos that she had. The reason that only 6 were able to be born was because 2 of the children, they went in there and I guess they were playing like it was makeup or something, but they took the embryos and all the other materials and like messed them completely up, basically killing those 6 embryos, and they were kids. They were like 2 or 3, so I guess they didn't really know what they were doing, but still at the same time, they did kill 6 kids. In episode, I think it was 1 through 3, we talked about when she had 12 embryos, she arrived with 12, but she only had 6. Well, now we find out why. So we end the episode pretty much with the Mithriac back at their camp. They're trying to basically find a way to break into this spear. It's no access points into it. It's no holes. It's no, what you want to say, doorways or anything like that. And so they're trying to figure out how we get inside. So then that night, as they're all starving their asses off, Ambrose, the fake leader, he says, well, we need to get inside this structure. We're all going to die, blah, blah, blah. So he's like losing it right now. And well, he tells Marcus, I want you to take these explosives and blow a hole in the structure, basically blowing up the structure so we can get inside. But wouldn't that be like blasphemy to do that to a, religious sign or symbol or something like that? And you're supposed to be the leader. So basically Marcus gives them a speech and tells the whole crew, our leader has lost his faith and all this and all that. But this is the crazy part. When he's doing that, Marcus actually grabs Ambrose by the head and pushes his head against that spear. And when he does that, the spear, which has been completely inanimate up to this point, the spear lights up and then sets Ambrose on fire, literally sets him on fire. He burns to the core. And then the structure warms up again, keeping the Mithriac warm so they wouldn't starve throughout the night. It was just insane. That's an insane episode. But at the same time, I feel like it was a stepping stone episode. No disrespect calling it a stepping stone, but it's a slow build to all the revelations that they're going to have in episode 5. It's like a lot of informative things. And, I think the climax of it was at the end of the episode after Ambrose burned up, Marcus, remember, he was the atheist imposter. He says, I heard a voice. And then he starts praying with the Mithriac group. So he's completely buying into whatever the hell they have going on. And this show is starting to get better and better. So now we're going to pick up with episode 5. All right, y'all, we're getting right back into it with episode 5. Now, episode 5 does start out a little slow. It has some dialogue, some character development going on. We get the Mithriac camp. They're going back to their crash ship looking for supplies or anything they can find. But what they do find is that priest. Remember, we had a priest who was raping some of the girls on that ship, the religious people ship. So they found his ass still alive. Obviously, he didn't die in the crash and he's just been roaming around the ship the whole time. And now back at the camp with mother and father, they're still going through the rigors of trying to teach the kids to be self-sustaining and survive on their own and, find food on their own and things like that. But the one major breakthrough we get comes from mother. She goes back to that simulation chamber and hooks herself up to unlock some of her suppressed memories. And the memories that she unlocked in this one revolve around her creator, Captain Campion Surges. So that's where her son Campion gets his name, from her creator. Now, we found that while she was a necromancer on Earth during the war, that's when Captain Surges found her. He captured her, brought her back to his lab, and did all these experiments. And it really shows you the growth that she had, because when she was a necromancer and he captured her, she was right in the middle of about to kill like a little 3 or 4-year-old kid. Like, she had no remorse. And when he brought her to his lab and, did all these experiments on her and changed her insides and stomach to where she can actually carry embryos, like we seen in episode 1, he changed her mentality to be from a necromancer killer to actually a mother and protector. And it took a while because he would test her, like bringing in fake babies that are androids, and she would immediately just like rip its head off or break its neck, so she still had the killer instinct inside of her. But over time, it's like a montage, but it's not, because they don't just go by, clip by clip or whatever. It's actually like a montage of actual scenes where they have development, and you get to see how she goes through this change to be from a straight 100% zero remorse killer to being somebody who was a loving mother, and she eventually fell in love with her creator, Captain Surges. So that's why she has such a strong connection to her son, Campion. It comes from, her creator. And I think it was actually great because they showed when she first got sent on her mission, and it was from Campion. He basically put her in a ship with father, and he said, I need you to go to this planet, whatever, because Earth is not going to be here. I can't make the trip with you because it's so far, but we need to save the human race, basically, is what he told her. You're going to be humanity's savior. So he put those embryos in the ship with her, put her in there with another android so she wouldn't be alone, and then he sent them off on that ship, and that's when they went to Kepler 22b, where we find, episode 1, where they start out. So that was really just some great background and character development into Mother, and showed you why she is the way she is. Now, if we get back to the Mithriac camp, they were chasing something. It looked like a person, but it didn't move or walk or act like a person. You know, it was really quick. But anyway, they found this layer that the thing was hiding in. And inside this layer, I guess, it was like a map of the whole planet. And that's how they figured out where Mother and Father's camp was, see? But at the same time of this going on, we have Marcus, their leader, the former atheist, who is having visions and he's seeing stuff in the stars and projections and just all this crazy stuff. He's becoming something completely different than where he started out as an atheist. He's like 100% bought into this religious stuff. And so basically we end the episode with them following that map that they found in that little cave and, you know, finding Mother and Father's, you know, camp with all their kids, and they could see their kids, and that's where we lead the episode. So I think episode 5 did a lot of payoff for what episode basically 1 through 4 did. The acting on this series is superb. I like the way the androids act because they don't act human. They don't necessarily look at you when they talk. They look down, they look left, they look right. They do all sorts of stuff, but they never really look at, you know, people with like eye contact, you know? And I think that's a good touch. I also like that it's not over the top. We haven't had any zombies, aliens, just creatures from the Black Lagoon, just anything stupid. It's action, it's suspense, it's drama, and it's actually well written. So that's what I like about this series. Every once in a while you have like a creature or something from the planet that will pop up, which seems normal. If you go to a random planet, there will be, you know, creatures and this and that, but it's never a focal point of the episode. But anyway, y'all, that's a review of episode 4 and 5 of Raised by Wolves, the Ridley Scott series on HBO Max. It's worth your time to check it out if you're looking for something new. You know, I wouldn't waste your time and recommend it if it wasn't. But anyway, thanks for giving me a view today, and I'll catch your ass out there in this universe. Peace.